How the Practice Incentive Program, PIP funding, can assist in recovering costs. To be eligible to participate in the Practice Incentives Program, PIP, your practice must be accredited or registered for accreditation against the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners Standards for General Practices.
If you're eligible for PIP payments, you do get PIP payments. So the university will, after the student has been here, they send you out a letter that states the dates and the times that the student was in attendance, and then they also send that off to PIP, and then we get notified on a quarterly basis what we've received for that student.
Quality teaching is important to make sure future GPs are appropriately trained and have experience working in a general practice. GPs are expected to engage in normal consultations when the student is present. Payments are intended to compensate practices for the reduced number of consultations due to the presence of the student.
Probably slowing down the numbers of consults slightly. If you're going to have the students seeing patients on their own, making sure there's somewhere an adequate room to do it with examination facilities and the computer.
For each 3-hour teaching session, practices can get a maximum payment of $100. Practices can claim a maximum of 2 sessions per GP and student per day. If there is more than 1 student in a teaching session, practices can still only claim a maximum of $100 for each session. An eligible teaching session must be provided to a student enrolled in an undergraduate or graduate medical course at an Australian university that is preparing them for entry into the Australian medical profession. Provided by a GP who is responsible for the teaching session, including those sessions provided outside the practice, such as home visits and consultations in hospitals or aged care facilities. A minimum of 3 hours in length. Practices that are already registered for the PIP don't have to do anything to apply for this payment. If your practice isn't registered for the PIP, you can apply through Health Professionals Online Service, HPOS, at humanservices.gov.au/health professionals. Practices must complete a claim form at the end of a teaching session and send it to PIP to get paid. Payments are paid retrospectively each quarter after the teaching sessions have taken place. Claims are accepted only up to 12 months after the teaching session was provided. The claim form must have the details of the practice providing the teaching session and be signed by the practice's authorised contact person. Details of the university, including university name and either a university stamp or the full name and signature of a university staff member, and details of the session, including the student's name, student ID number, the date of the session, and the number of sessions. The claim form can be completed by the university or the practice, but each form must be endorsed by the relevant university.
After 2 months, if we haven't received anything, I will ring the university, and then I go to my PIP folder and then make sure that the quarter that it says it will be paid, that it is. If not, we ring PIP and just ask, did the university send in the paperwork? Is it delayed for some reason? Will it be in next quarter payment? And take it from there.
The practice needs to make sure the claim form is sent to PIP by the cut-off date to receive their payment in the following payment quarter. For the current list of cut-off dates, download the guidelines at humanservices.gov.au.
I do it because I get a buzz out of doing it. I enjoy it. There's actually the interaction. The fascinating thing is several of the specialists I refer to now I first met as students.
It made me re-evaluate, I guess, my own practices. So it made me think about my day, think about what I looked at, think about things that I might have slackened off on. It kind of showed me things that I perhaps no longer put as much importance on, which was still important because they were things I was telling her. And it made us double check sort of, our folders and our up-to-date information, so that if I told her to go look at something, you've realised you might have been really good to a point and then the rest of it's up here. So it was sort of making sure, so that was different.
I'm a solo GP, and so it actually gives me a chance to find an agile, fresh mind and re-examine what I'm doing. Plus the students think I'm teaching them, but in fact they're also teaching me, because often the facts change of what you do, and I often find out from students' eyes, well, what would you do in this? And I'll find about something that's now considered to be norm, which is different from what was considered to be norm last time I worked out what the normal treatment is, which is a normal part of medicine. So it's actually another way of keeping up to date. it's also, when I'm doing things, it means there's someone there who's alert and on the ball and watching what I'm doing, and would challenge me if he or she thinks I'm doing something different. And then I've got to say, well, why am I actually doing that? And that can be because one or other of us could improve our treatments. But which is all why we practice medicine, to continuously learn. I'm lucky enough to be a doctor. Whatever skills I've gained, I want to be able to pass on. And most of the training that young doctors get is in the hospital-based environment, where the unusual patients with the unusual types of diseases tend to be located, and it's not the same. And so there's a misinformation on what normal disease is. We actually have to remember that common things are common, and that's what you tend to see in general practice. And the skill in general practice is to recognise common things are common, but to recognise the uncommon. I've been a doctor for a long time, but I still enjoy every day, and this is something which can actually give another dimension, another expression of the joy of medicine.
This concludes the training module. Thank you for your participation and for supporting medical student placements in general practice. Feel free to contact us via the Contact Us page if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.